no pressure. So bad.
I think my tuition currently is like 70,000 per year, and that's like absurdly high concern.
What's the one thing that you got disappointed?
I come from like a small town, so going to a big city is a really big change. And I love being in the city, but it is really dangerous at times. And we get a lot of reports of like things happening to students, and we get like reports of, yeah.
How do you also feel about the safety of the city?
There are times where I really do feel unsafe. Like just walking out of my dorm, I get yelled at. Like it's
Who yelled at you?
just homeless people or like people like that. Like where like people will like catcall you or yell at you asking for money or asking to like play chess and stuff like that. Like it's feels a little unsafe, or you get chased and stuff like that.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's gross. It happens to a lot of young women here in the city, and I feel like a lot of people, it's normal to get harassed in New York City, which should be something that's like a standard, but it is. So
Do you think there's anything that school can do about it?
the school does a lot. There's a lot of like safety features. We have an app that we can press if we feel unsafe and someone comes to us. We can get car rides home if it's dark and late at night. They give us they have like a whole program like Uber for students that's free. So they do a lot, and every time something bad happens, you can report it, and then it sends something out to the whole campus saying like stay away from this area or don't do this. I think the school is really good about safety, but it's also something that kind of comes with going to New York City and going to school here.
It's a societal thing. It's very much a societal thing that like NYU just can't really change like that. It would have to take a lot of activism through a different community to change it. There's no pressure.
So bad.
Do you feel like the area is different?
Yes, it's so
Yes.
much
Their
pollution.
water's different too from Michigan. 'Cause
Let's start with the air first. What do you mean the air is different?
There's a lot of like smokers here, and all the buildings are so compressed that all the pollution is just all like, it's very
Yeah.
congested here. Yeah.
you can't it feels like you can't get a full nice breath of air even if you're in a park. Like even if you're in Central Park, it still feels like
You smell something.
yes.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
I'm smelling
I'm
something. What is the smell?
Yeah.
And water. You said something about the water?
So in Michigan we have hard water. Here we have soft water.
Wait.
So
I'm sorry, what's the differences?
like the minerals in the water. There's more minerals in Michigan water than there is in New York water.
better water
It's better
here.
water here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but
it's a
East
good thing.
Coast,
Yes.
that's a good thing. The water here is fine, but the air's not.
Yeah, air's not.
NYU basically doesn't really have a campus. It's just a lot of different buildings just located around one central area around Washington Square Park. I'd say it's kind of hard to find a sense of like a normal traditional sense of community that you'd have at other colleges. So I'd say definitely that's a downside of NYU.
I would say overall here, it's a little bit harder to build community because it's so separated out, like so many different things going on. You don't like see the same people every day.
So there were multiple students who were sharing the same experience where they felt lonely even though there are 100 different students in the class. Why do you think people feel that way?
It's also just like kind of city culture in general. Like even though there's so many people around you, everyone's kind of in their own world, have a million things to do. People are very independent here, like goal-driven, focused on doing things. And I think sometimes it's hard to like link up your schedule with other people who are like also doing a million things.
Do you think NIU is doing a good job for community building?
I think they could do a better job. Personally, I'm in like a lot of clubs and activities myself, so I feel really good. But I would say actually like in my first year here, I was less proactive in it. So I think I had a little bit worse of an experience. So you do really need to be proactive. Yeah, they definitely could do some more stuff to make it easier.
The one thing I wish NYU had more school spirit. I wish we had more like all student events, I'd say, because like a lot of other schools, they have D3 leagues, they have like a lot of sport events. NYU doesn't have that. NYU focuses more on its arts, like theater, film, that type of stuff. So I think I would appreciate more like sport events.
Here, where there's like no athletics, no like Friday football, nothing like that. It was a very big change for me and something I wasn't expecting. Like I was expecting, but wasn't at the same time.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like school spirit here.
Yeah.
Have you guys been making a lot of friends inside, outside of NYU?
Yeah. There's also a lot of like school programs here to help us make friends. Like it's not the same community as like a big athletic school, but there is like a community in its own sense. We have a lot of clubs and a lot of programs and things. So yeah.
They give us a lot of opportunities to like make friends, to like go out and meet people. This school does make you like need to be more social, like in that sense, and just go up to people and say hi if you feel like you want to be friends with them. But they give us a lot of opportunities, like she said.
Be a bit socially isolating when you first move in because we don't have a campus, so you have to put a little bit more effort into making friends than you would at a normal school.
I have heard a lot of complaints that even though there are so many people, yes, a lot of people had that social anxiety that it's hard to talk to people or make friends. How do you feel the same way?
Well, I find that like it's actually funny because you walking around New York, you'd expect it to be huge, but you end up seeing a lot of people you know just walking around the streets randomly, which is kind of nice because it feels comfortable.
Do you feel like NYU could do a better job with that?
I think it's hard because we don't have a campus, but I think I don't know, I think there could be some more effort. But I feel like Welcome Week is like a big thing that we have here freshman year, where that's where like I met a lot of my friends that I have now. So
We have like community activities, but a lot of people don't show up to them.
Oh, really? Can you give me an example?
Like we have RAs in our building, so residential assistants who are normally upperclassmen who plan events for the people who live in the dorms, but a lot of people don't attend the events the RAs plan.
Why do you think people are now attending?
I think everyone's just really busy because it is New York, and I think people are very focused on their career and networking and doing things for their future, so they don't have as much time to do like fun social activities.
Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I agree that there are opportunities, but a lot of people don't go to these.
How is it making friends in NYU?
I feel like since obviously the school is so big, it's like 60,000 plus students. So it's really, I feel like it's both hard and easy to meet people, especially because you're meeting people in class. You're always gonna, if you're around campus, you're always gonna meet someone. But I feel like it's also hard to get to know people too, because everyone's on their own schedule. Everyone's kind of running around everywhere. But I'd say, in my personal experience, I think it's been pretty easy to make friends.
Why do you think it's hard to make friends in NYU in different perspective?
In a different perspective, I think just because it's so big. Like, the campus is so big. There's so many buildings. And I feel like because some of the class sizes are a lot bigger, it's hard to, or it's a little intimidating to talk to people.
I'd say the main thing is because of the city. A lot of students like to go elsewhere as opposed to campus. So there aren't too many events where a lot of people from the same school go to. And because of that, it's kind of harder to meet people. But at the same time, if you have made your friends, like let's say from your dorm, I feel like that's where most people make their friends. Then you can go and explore the city together, which is a good thing.
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I would say it's really hard to meet people in the city in general, actually, just because New York is very fast-paced, and it's like you don't stop and talk to people, you just go. You know what I mean? So it's just hard to meet people. With classes especially, I'm in pretty big classes except for about 2 of them, and you kind of are just there for lecture, and then once it's over, you guys disperse, and it's just so fast-paced that you don't really connect with people. You have more acquaintances than you do like real connections. And I'd say in New York especially, like there's thousands of people in our grade, and so it's just really hard.
You feel the same way?
Honestly, yeah, I was gonna say a pretty similar answer. You know, like I feel like the lifestyle is like work hard. I mean, I guess there's aspects of play hard, but it really is like work hard. Everyone is like locked in, like pretty competitive. So it is kind of hard to meet people here, especially in New York City. You know, like everyone just kind of like walks by each other on the street. Like you rarely ever like stop and talk to someone, but yeah.
Back at home, so I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and everyone's very nice there to your face, but then when you turn your back, they're very mean. But here,
What do you mean very mean?
they will like talk bad about you behind your back and act very nice to your face. But here, like if someone thinks negative about you, they're gonna let you know. It's gonna be known. So I kind of like that because you never have to like stay there guessing, you know?
I think whenever you are a new person living in a city by yourself as a young person, it can feel isolating. And I found that you could feel lost amidst the bustle of 8 million people. But I think that's part of my formative experience of finding who I am now, because I actually worked as a hospital volunteer at St. Vincent's Hospital, which no longer exists, which was on 13th Street and 7th Avenue. And that brought me a lot of joy in a period of isolation, and I pursued a career in medicine.
If there's a one improvement that I know you can do for you guys, what would it be?
Lower tuition.
Lower the tuition, yes. Some students were talking about the tuition. How much, may I ask you how much tuition you're paying and how you feel about it?
I think my tuition currently is like 70,000 per year, and that's like absurdly high concern. That's absurdly high because like there's some school university like Michigan University, for example, $25,000 a year. Huh?
University of Michigan, I think.
Yeah, no, it's Michigan State.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, $25,000 a year, and this is like $25,000 to a semester, which is like extremely absurdly high.
Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, the tuition is way too high. Is too high to be justified by the price. I think Columbia is even cheaper. I could be wrong about that.
Yes, Columbia is cheaper.
Yeah, Columbia,
This is,
Carnegie
like,
Mellon,
most expensive.
MIT. They're cheaper schools, and they're way better than this one.
What do you mean way better?
They're more They're considered more prestigious and generally like more well-rounded. Like for example, NYU's best school, arguably best school is Stern, which is business. But like you go to Carnegie Mellon or Harvard or Stanford, they're cheaper, and you're getting like a much like every major is like prestigious, but just by its school.
Do you feel the same way? That's actually an interesting point.
Yeah,
That's a very interesting point.
yeah, of course. Do you also know that NYU is like it's known for one of the like most expensive prices in the school? Like when I go to tell someone like I study NYU, the first thing they said is like, "Damn, that's so expensive there." Instead of something like, "Yo, you go to a really prestigious school."
So I was about to ask you if you would like to share, if you may share, how are you paying your tuition?
Well, my parents are paying that for me.
That's one way.
Parents and I have some slight scholarships, but
How much scholarship are you getting?
I don't want to reveal that.
Thank you.
But something I also like to mention, I think I mentioned like the pricing, but like this means also implies like a lot of people who come here just like there's that implication like you're just wealthy, like rather like you truly earn your position. Like Stanford, for example, Harvard, Stanford, you'll see like these rich people, like very wealthy, but NYU you feel it like a lot more. Like in terms of like demographics, I feel like NYU like engineering, like most of the people I know are international or you're from like California or New York, local New York.
Yeah, my mom even had with this one joke where she was like, keep making friends around the school. Maybe you'll know like this one person whose parents own like supermarket chains across the country or something.
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump's son is here. Christopher.
Is he?
What?
Yeah, Barron Trump's at Stern, and Christopher Nolan's daughter was a Tisch student last year. Right. And other celebrities like send their children here. So like you definitely do see that rich stereotype.
All right, I'm making my way to Stern.
Do you think it's a good thing for the regular students?
I mean, I don't know like how financial aid is distributed. Like NYU has actually been very infamous for being financially unforgiving.
True. It is not very fair for regular people. I don't even think there's any regular people here, except for like richer people. So I don't really know about regular people, unless what you're talking about is like people who want to attend the school, but doesn't have the money to, then yes, it's very unfair.
Do you think school can be a little more conscientious with the tuition?
I think so. I think a lot of the issues that people have is that our tuition money isn't going to a lot of places where it feels like we might need that money to go to. I feel like that's a huge issue.
What do you think?
About the tuition specifically, yeah, I think sometimes the tuition could be utilized in more thoughtful ways that would help the student body. For example, sometimes there's like issues with the dorms that could be like the dorms could be more renovated, so there's less issues with like the laundry, like the washing machines and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would agree on that. I think the biggest issue that any of the student body has in terms of complaints is with the dorms, especially the older freshman year dorms. Just like issues like bugs, stuff like that happens in old buildings, but I think NYU could put more money into it.
I think the one thing that's really concerning to me is the tuition fee. It's quite a lot. It's only good if you make the best of it. That's the only chance you get to make the best of it. And I think you should come here if you feel like you're very comfortable with affording it.
Inflation has been hurting us a lot of people. Job market has been hurting us a lot of parents as well. So tuition can be a lot of burdensome for a lot of parents, even also for financial aid.
I'm actually on a scholarship, so I get around $13,000 worth of scholarship every year, and my parents are funding my education right now, so I'm not on any sort of loans right now. But apart from that, I also end up paying around $12,000 per semester, which rounds up to $24,000 a year.
What other expenses do you have?
On that, I have to pay my rent, my transportation, and I'm not staying with the university halls right now. I've rented an apartment with my friends, so groceries, utilities, everything.
How much are you paying?
Like me and my friends, we're paying around $3,300 worth of rent every month, and $200 for utilities.
Yeah, the tuition is a lot at NYU, so I'm paying around $75,000. I'm not on scholarship here. Also, I'm living off campus, so there's rent, transport. So New York, and also New York is mad expensive, I think.
I have, 9/11 happened when did you already say that?
Yeah.
Okay. Our first few days there, I'm like,
yeah. I mean, I think the effect of 9/11 on the city for the people who lived here at the time was that New Yorkers banded together and became friendlier and cared more about each other. So I sort of lived in an artificial time of safety amongst New Yorkers, I believe.
Okay, so do you remember what kind of day it was?
Yeah, it was a Tuesday. And I was going to chemistry class, and on the way to class,
it was in the morning, right?
Yeah, it was like 9 in the morning. One of the buildings was on fire, and I assumed there had been a terrible accident. And when I came out of chemistry class, the two buildings were gone, and I assumed that they were hidden behind a tree or something. And I came back to the dorm and found out the terrible news, and nobody could get through to anyone, and the phone lines were all tied up, and we were using AOL Instant Messenger as the way of communicating amongst each other, which I don't know if that's something you remember, but that's probably before your time.
Were you worried?
oh yes, very much. I was freaking out. She was there for 3 or 4 days, and it happened.
Yeah. I escaped I left on Thursday.
Yeah. It was very scary.
It was very smoky, and the streets extremely smoky. The air quality was terrible. South of 14th Street was closed completely to traffic. The air quality was horrible. Even just going to Central Park, the air quality was better. So I left, and my boyfriend was in Connecticut, so I took a bus to see him on Thursday. I left 2 days later.
And also, there was in everyone's mind what's going to happen next? Is something else are they going to blow this up? Or, no one, people thought that.
Yeah, but then it became sort of militarized, and there was, there was like our army police stationed at all of the subway stations, and it was a little scary, obviously, seeing people walking around with machine guns, but in the subway station. So it was a very unusual time.